Hello, folks. We will wait for a few more minutes. We're just waiting for HA279 to dial in. She's the leader of the program, so please stand by for a bit. We will wait another few minutes and then we will get started. Okay, we are barely to 3. I'm requesting SHN. I'm also missing HA279 to be on the line. And I'm missing Nyok as well. If Team FT, you could reach out to the members, please let them know we're going to start the session. And also the other influencers from the sessions, so please. Okay, we're going to get started in a bit, so everybody get ready. This is a month of dealing with fear of failure. So it's a big question for everybody. And it's very important for us to understand how do we deal with this fear of failure. So let's get started in a few seconds. I will also request you, if you could, Lynn, move on to the next slide and also provide the Cueboard link on the Zoom chat. Now, you will need to sign in for a discussion and for locking your comments, notes, how do you feel? We will do this gradually. I would request Ellie or Lynn to provide the link on the Cueboard, so on the Zoom chat, so at least people could get directed to the Cueboard. Now, Cueboard is a platform where we have an interactive collaboration and interactive putting up of comments, something like a post, like a blog page. We intend to use this blog page and this post to credit the members who are actively participating and to make sure that we have, provided them some pathway, especially for new members who are joining in the session. So that's what we are looking for. Anyway, here we go. Let's get started in a bit. So last week, we did the fear of failure. We started with the fear of failure, and VA79 did a great job talking about what is the fear of failure. And this week, we are going to talk about what triggers the fear of failure. Next week, we have recommended topics. Is our ego our fear? We could put it in the team with the team and then talk about extending or uplifting the stop documents. We may have some of the changes that will happen. I think HA279 has made some modifications to the topics, and she will be putting it on the Cueboard for our follow-up end of today. And finally, we will talk about how do we manage these fear of the fear of failure. How do we become better at it? Now, the thumb rule is there is no state of permanence. The situations continuously keeps getting shifted, and this means that we are always in a state of flux. Now, before we start, I would like to get a volunteer for this session. So, okay, can I check with my chef?
Yeah.
Okay, my chef, would you be kind enough to take down critical notes, critical events from today, and then start placing it on our discussion? Would that be okay for you? Or I could even call YB to do that, right? So YB is just joined in. Let me try for both of you. Try that. YB, good evening, good afternoon to wherever you are. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. So YB, I'm going to put a challenge for you and a request. we are on the second day of the fear of failure, and we are trying to get as many members on it. But it also depends on how well we have articulated the message. So I'm going to put in some stories today. I'm going to be your speaker for the day. My name is DAV79, and I'll be sharing with you concepts, thoughts, what we have discussed in the team, and some research that we have done. I would like you and MIHF to together work together and provide Lin91 with some of your abstracts and thoughts and notes, and Lin will get this published on the website by tomorrow. So are you able to organize some quick thoughts and quick comments and words, etc., and provide it to Lin at the end of the day today?
Yes.
Yes.
Very nice. Okay, so Lin91, we have two incoming. Both these members will be providing you with incepts. It may be overlapping. It doesn't matter. But please do take in their credits and then load it up. So YB and MIHF, I may request you to go to the keyboard and place your notes on the keyboard directly so that Lin can take it out and then put it for, publish these documents. And you can take snapshots of this article, and you can interpret it any way you have most understood it. So there is no right and wrong here, and it's a question of how you have understood and imagined the work to be. All right, LE23, shall we start? Is it okay?
But
No
I didn't have access to Padlet yet.
No
It's o-
problem. So do you see the screen? Lin91 will post once again on the chat group. Lin91 will put the link to the Padlet. So please make sure that you can. Oh, sorry, SHN says you don't have access to the Padlet yet. Would you be able to go to padlet.com and just sign up? Is that an issue for you?
Yes.
Well, if it is, don't worry. You can put your notes on the keyboard, and then next week we can get you into more of a digitized environment. Is that okay for you?
Yes, that's okay. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much, YB. And MIHF, we look forward to looking for you. And thank you so much, Lynn, for updating that. So here we go. We've got this article. By the way, notes will also be locked in the keyboard end of today. So for anybody who wants to read it, let's go through what we are going to cover. Next slide, please. So last week, we started with VAN799, who mostly spoke about the FOMO and JOMO. Could I ask anybody who remembers what a FOMO and a JOMO is? Let me check with MIHF. MIHF, do you recall what a FOMO and a JOMO is?
Not
really?
Not really.
Okay, FOMO and JOMO are terms placed by VA799. FOMO, it talks about the fear of missing out, and it actually converts into a joy of missing out as a kind of indication saying, okay, I didn't get it, it's fine, I didn't get it. And it's a kind of acceptance, a state of acceptance that is most likely falsely placed on board and used as a justification to lay back and do nothing about it. And then, in Singapore, we have the term, let's see how. And let's see how, it really means, okay, let's try and find out what's happening. Don't need to worry about it now. And this kind of events are being triggered more and more and more recently. So in her discussion, VA799 spoke about whether these are defensive mechanisms. And as a defensive mechanism, some of the positive it acts as a form of motivation. It may even help you to be resilient if you overcome some of the thresholds or the barriers. And we also have a scenario where we're looking at innovation and growth. So if done correctly, this may be giving a positive mechanism, but mostly it becomes a place where you avoid challenges. We increase our low self-esteem, and we have anxiety disorders and procrastination. So all of these become, invariable. And VA799 left with a question. So why does it happen? And what's the reason? Why is it happening more and more these days? Which is a very valid question. Now, I would like you all to think about this, and this question will be posted on the keyboard. So you will see a snapshot on what this is and why is this happening so often as a question from BA799. It'll be also part of our research that we're using, where we will be actively using your intercepts and your notes that will go into our research book. At the end of it, we are hoping we will be able to make something interesting. So that was what we covered last week. But this week, well, let's talk about the triggers. But I'm going to start with a story from Hanoi. A fear of failure. We did an experiment, a fear of failure, about a month ago. Let me introduce to you Lily. Lily was a very shy and subtle person. She prefers to sit in the silence. One of her favorite songs was, I think you've heard the song "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend." Does anybody know where that song is from? Anybody? Is it? Do you remember that song? Do you recall? Do you know that song? It goes, "Hello darkness, my old friend." Something like that. No, that's a Sachin saying no. Okay, so I've not sung it well. Am I, Jeff? Any chance from your side?
Yes. Is it from Adele?
No, it's not Adele. No, it's not Adele. It's a very old song from Simon and Garfunkel, and they talked about the time in the 70s or the 60s and the 70s. After the war, where everybody felt very sad, very lonely, very useless, and this was triggered by a very interesting scenario. It was because during the war everybody had something to do, everybody was focused, but suddenly everybody had nothing to do and they had to do something new, and this something new created a sense of anxiety for them because they were running so quickly. And this was where the song originates itself. It talks about really dark days, and where it is. It talks about even depression as a sign, right? So let's talk about the story. So Lily was feeling very useless. Lily was feeling very afraid. But all of a sudden, Lily heard a song that she remembered. And she saw that in the next door, there was a bar, a coffee bar. It was dark. But as she walked into the coffee bar, she saw a dog and a guy playing the piano. And that created a different vibe in her. I stopped this story for a bit, and I'm going to ask each of you what you would think happens next. So let me check with YB. YB, what do you think would happen to Lily? A, does she temporarily becomes happy? Does she become curious? Does she become more worried, anxious, or does she just simply go back?
I think that she'll feel happier. It's a kind of feeling that happens, but it's hard to explain. But sometimes you can find happiness in simple things. So I think she became happier.
Nice. Okay, let's check with the MI Chef. MI Chef, what about you? What do you think? And you have to do something different, you have to say something different.
Could you say the options one more time?
No, you've defeated the purpose then. You owe me $10. That's the rule of the game. So if I have the options, okay, let me give you the options for free now, but next time you have to, it'll be chargeable. So it goes like this. She could run away, she could go back, she could temporarily feel happy and then overcome it, or she could just be curious and observe and then go back, or she could decide to watch and change. What are you? It could be something different for you. I was just giving some options from my side. What do you think is the most likely option?
The most likely option would probably be, I'm not sure what Lily would do, but what I would probably do is I would try to hide from it for a while. Then I don't know, I would try to avoid it altogether until something pushes me to face it.
Okay, so you're saying that, so YB is given indication that you would be very happy, you would be slightly happier than your old state, and you would find this as you would be grateful about the situation. But what MI Chef is indicating is it would be more of, you would need more motivation, and you would be more, you would be more excited by this. I'm sorry, you would be more, I would say less excited by this, and you'd be very cautious. You would need a lot more energy to break through, and this music may not get you there already. That's what you're trying to tell me, right? Okay, so let's hear some of the quotes from you. So I'm going back to YB. So can you give me one quote? What's a quote? And you can put on the keyboard, sorry, on the Zoom chat. We can all put on the Zoom chat, and then we can pick it up later. Can you give me one quote? Everybody, please put a quote, and then we will read out your names. We'll call you out. And those of you who don't have a quote, then we will call you out again, and we will talk about it. Okay, let's wait for a bit. Okay, no quotes yet. No comments yet. No problem. Okay, there is usually a little bit of a writing time, and we're talking about fear as well, right? So we are all in that situation. Well, we'll give you a minute. All right, we will be possibly grouping you as well, but we will be doing that in the next hour or so. We might put you in groups so you can try to figure out some of these. Okay, I'm still waiting for the chats. Okay, I'm going to call out the name. Let's start with, okay, I'm going to call up Ellie23. Ellie, are you able to speak? What is a quote?
Yes, Ken.
Okay, good. What is a quote you have for fear of failure? Any quote, any statement that you'd like to make for fear of failure after having heard the story?
Like the quote. Yeah.
Yeah, like a quote. Anything, don't worry. Iris, you can also write in Chinese. It is not a problem. We will use translations. You can put it on the keyboard where Lynn has given access, so we can write it there. Okay, let me check back with Ellie. Ellie, I lost you. Any idea on the quote?
Sorry, because the noise from my side, so I would like to put my answer on the chat box.
Okay,
it is okay.
Very nice. Very nice. So I have
Yeah.
from MI Chef saying, maybe the thing you are most scared of is what you should do. Very interesting. Giving up is the only sure way to fail. Very nicely said from YB and MI Chef. And Captain America said, maybe the thing you're most scared of is what you should do. And Ellie says, let me put that in the chat box. So far from fear, far from learning. I love that statement from SH. Very interesting. Let's hear a few more. Okay, Iris, you need to try as well. Anything on fear. I have one statement, but I will put it after 2 minutes when everybody has put it. And something close to what you guys have said, something close to also what YB has said. I'm also going to put it up here so you can see. Very nice. I'm seeing very nice notes. The fear inside you is sometimes bigger than the challenge you're facing. Very nice. All right. HA279, any thoughts from your side? Any comments? Okay, give a minute. All right. What I thought was never try, never know. And we have also a let music wave the fear. from Lin 91. So whoever is recording it, could you also take a snapshot and make sure these notes are captured on board, so at least when you load it up, this is something interesting that goes. Now, I'll tell you, I'll complete the story that day. The more we try, yes, very nice. That's really nice from the team. So from Hania as well, G279. So there's an interesting thing that happened to Lily. Lily that day listened to the music. She felt super, super excited. She was able to connect instantly with that element. Maybe that was what was the kick that she decided. Now, the kick is different from everybody, but she may have got that kick and she discovered that, wow, this is something really, excellent. And she went in, she got her cousin, she brought everybody on board, and she kept going to that same place and she started playing better. She started connecting more and more, and she started becoming less and less afraid. Now, this is the story of Lily. It is not always possible that Lily will be fear from the fear. It is always going to happen, and the fear is going to come back in different times for her. But we are evaluating and trying to find out at what time, what may have caused Lily this fear. What do you think would have caused Lily this fear? Is this big question that we have on our discussion today. So over to slide 5. Slide 5. Yes. So on slide 5, let me tell you this, that Lily is not alone. Recently, we had a military officer, a very senior commando in the army. He was scared of writing an examination. Yes, very, very, very scared. And this was very, very much of a problem. And the reason he said is he suffered from some anxiety disorders, even nightmares and things like that he suffers from, that creates a lot of issue for him. But what we're looking at is an entire new environment. And here, this is a note for also the animation club to try and pick up. Now, let me ask you very quickly, can you pick out a number that's there, or can you create a number and then can we start naming it and looking at it? So this pyramid of fear in the wall that we have different numbers. Each number stands for a particular scenario, situation, but the highest of this is the number 8. Well, 8 is not the last number, but number 8 is the highest. It is called atychiphobia. So atychiphobia, it is a fear of an intense fear of failure. And this is often termed as an anxiety disorder. So people who are not able to sleep, people who want to control others, people who are extremely obsessive, people who have stress, people who procrastinate, people who distract others, people who are afraid of studies, that is sophophobia. People who are afraid of backlash and they say, oh, I don't want to get on stage. I don't want to, I fear everybody's going to reject me, fear of rejection, fear of being everything in tidiness. I am, I am myself partly on an OCD environment. So all of these, constitute, and eventually as they become big and big and big, they reach right to the top, atychiphobia. And then you have chemical imbalances in your body. In fact, you don't need to achieve atychiphobia already to have chemical imbalances. If you're on point number 6, if you're having stress, then you automatically have 2 enzymes released, adrenaline and cortisols. We talked about cortisols, we talked about adrenaline. Now these 2 are released and automatically creates an issue. There is one positive element though, that if, according to Dr. Maykal is from the Bilkent University in Turkey, and doctor says that if we have a very, we have a very nice way of walking people through the school of failing, school of making mistakes and loving them. And if you are having very strong support structures, well, you will be able to create motivation. But that's not always the case. People are, even if you do this, people have a 3, 5, 4, 6, 7, and 8 happening. One of the reasons is because even the very traditional schools that are built to motivate have sometimes created a competitiveness that results in a fear of failure. And it says, oh no, I can't fail because you fail, because you will pass. It becomes my neighbor's enemy kind of scenario. So it becomes a very interesting scenario where we end up building a lot of momentum around trying our best and inertia not to fail. And this creates an internal stress. Now, let me ask you, how many of you are, have a number inside this? Let me check with some of you on the Zoom chat, please. Can you put a number where you are? I'm sure some of you, all of us have numbers. I told you I am already at number 7. That's so it's pretty bad. but we have our exercises. We have to work on it. And sometimes those exercises are more than what you can imagine. So everybody gets exercise from the Johari space. Everybody gets exercise from workshops. Everybody gets exercise from experiments from the learning space. And all of these are kicked into action. So let me ask you, people, on a scale of 1 to 10, or sorry, on the numbers that you see here, where are you? So let me read out some of the numbers. Okay, I have only one person. No people with the numbers? Quick. MI Chef, what is your number? Okay, I have Lin91 saying 5. Okay, so Lin91 is afraid of, public speaking. And 4, okay, procrastination. That's a very subtle way of slowly building up. But to avoid procrastination, you got to put yourself into project works, into team works. 4, there's a lot of people on the 4 section, which is pretty interesting. YB, what about you?
Yes.
What is the number you choose? So we have 6, we have 4, very nice. A lot of 4s. We have even 6, I agree. 6 comes into board because there's also too much of expectation to match the, what is the trigger? So YB, I'm coming to you. What is your number, YB? What number do you choose? Did you
I
write
think
that down? Nine. Okay. YB says 3. All right. YB, nice. Sophophobia. YB. Okay. So the interesting part is the learning space removes sophophobia to a very huge extent. I will let SHN talk about the Zion and Six's, or his team of friends talk about that. How the sophophobia is slowly removed, eroded, but also how procrastination can be removed. Program office is one of the areas where we really remove procrastination because you're forced to work in groups. Workshops is another way. And Johari Space tries to remove stress and tries to even remove OCDs. I myself am going through a Johari Space experiment, and we go through a lot of environment changes. And as an OCD, I have to also make my own. I would say I need to help myself. I need to make sure that there is a constant control and monitoring. So a lot of people go through a lot of issues, right? So but let's take a look at why this has happened or why this is happening. So here, one of the first interesting is the bullying. If you are subject to bullying, if you have been ridiculed, the people say, you're no good. And, if you have achieved that or you have witnessed that, you have been hit by it. This has been seated in your subconscious. And at some point of time, whether you like it or not, it's going to come back. And the only way you can forget about it is if you laugh it away or face the fear directly. Facing it will be, interestingly removed. Now, I was with a friend of mine. I think she was there last week on the session. Now, I don't know her. I haven't seen her, but an acquaintance. And she said that the best way to face fear is to be more of you. The more you are of yourself, the less fearful you will be. That's right. But again, you should not be more of you and only you, when then fear loses itself and hubris takes over, as we explained on the earlier chart. But achieved phobia is a result of bullying. It is also, when parents have been critical, very critical, and usually parents are critical because they are afraid, or they were one of the numbers. It is also good for you to ask your parents. Take this as an exercise and have a chat with your parents. Ask them, where are they? Also, share with them where you are, not just your parents. It can be your colleague, it can be your partner, it can be your spouse, it can be your friend, anyone. But do take it with them, anyone in your environment, and share with us the small picture and ask them where they are and bring it and put it on the keyboard and tell us what other areas we could. Now, there are also sleep disorders for people from, atikiphobia. And there is also other areas of issues like other breakdowns, like even a form of placebo effect, tapping the feet, restlessness. All of these are extreme, signs of, a lack of a fear of failure. And all of this have been binding up some places, but we will need to find out what are the correlation that we can see here. The other important, so remember this exercise, people. I would look forward to see how many of you have completed that. Just talk to one friend, just talk to your parent, just talk to your spouse, just talk to your colleague, and find out. You don't need to name who they are, but you need to find out from them and take their feedback and put it on the keyboard. Take this present picture, take a snapshot, and find out what number, or if there's something new, you may be getting a special point. So please make sure that you have actually highlighted what number it is, or you have created your new number. So here, you need to work back and provide what new situations you can highlight. It's a homework, and I will check this homework with you next week. In 91 will be updating this homework on the keyboard, so we will be able to get it up from there. And to the Animations Club, please, if you can drive this. Now, a traumatic event may also trigger what's called atikiphobia, or rather, a fear of failure at some point. And critical upbringing may also, do it. Now, critical upbringing is not necessarily only from parents. It can be from the environment. It can be from the entire ecosystem. And you can see that a lot of very quickly developing nations are facing this fear. It is also becoming more of JOMO, or more of the entitled race. Suddenly I feel I must need it. I need to have it. If not, it's my right. And a lot of this becomes a part of it. And fear, stress is the biggest reason. There's a lot of kids with stress. And one of the reasons why this trigger becomes so exponential is that they lose out on the consciousness, connecting with the subconscious, understanding the purpose of what they are. Now, our programs at Team FT try to build it up. So here we are, a few set of issues. The problem is also with the critical upbringing. It doesn't stop there. It continuously burns and makes more offsprings, or makes more people who are seriously afraid or seriously having a fear of failure. This results in a big slowdown in the economy. This results in a brain drain, and this becomes a big issue for economies. I mean, you might have heard about people saying, oh, there is an aging population, the economy is slowing. All of this has an impact from the fear of failure. There is a correlation, though we are still finding out what is a correlation between the fear of failure and the slowing down of economies at a macro level. And these are being done also on our research side, and we are studying and we are trying to get feedback, work on different correlation aspects, trying to understand, does it have any impact? And that's being done also through the Johari space and through the workshops that you're listening to. So this is a quick note on, atikiphobia. And this is a very huge problem, as as SHN mentioned. I'm going to call SHN on board to explain this hikikomori. Hikikomori is a very, kids have that big issue. They run away and they say they don't want it. And it's a big problem. So over to you. Sorry, not Hokikomari. So over to you, SHN. A quick note on the Hokikomari.
Yeah, hi everyone. Am I audible enough?
Very. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, okay. Sorry, I'm outside, so that's why. Yeah. So while watching a documentary about Japan some time back, this Hokikomori concept was discussed in that documentary. Though it had some historical reasons for this phenomena to happen in a place like Japan, Japan, to start with, is a country of peculiar culture and customs and all. So it was always a country that had intrigued me. So while I was, searching something on Japan, this thing came up. It happened. It was triggered due to some war-related issues and some economic depression, etc., which Japan went through. But then it kind of caught on in the society, and it's one of the big issues that Japan faces today. It is a country which has an aging population, plus you have young people who do this and the reclusiveness. So fear of failure is one of the factors that contribute to that. And of course, there are other factors, but fear of factor is also one issue. So once you get into that state of mind, then they just don't want to interact with people around, and they leave alone, in shut themselves up in apartments, and they just live a very secluded life. And it's actually a social issue that countries like Japan face today.
Very nice, very nice. I've taken these notes down, and we're going to come back and probably do share some links or thoughts on the keyboard so we can extend that research along that line. We also hear that Sweden has another Sweden where the learning, sorry, Norway, not Sweden, sorry, Norway, that is a very interesting learning structure, also changed their nature of learning because of a lot of fear, social issues driven from fear of failure. China is probably also undergoing the similar situation where young people are saying, I don't want to work anymore. I'm just going to spend another few years doing nothing in life. And the problem is the parents, they don't understand because they have gone through this whole trouble, war, they have worked it out, and they have now burning up people to say, let's do it, do it. And at this point of time, people are saying, nope, I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm just suddenly going to switch off and change the way I look at things. The problem there is it's going to create a huge ripple impact to the society, just like what SHN mentioned. So beautiful notes from SHN on that. Thank you, SHN. Let me just quickly go and check with Iris. Iris, any quick comments on the fear of failure from your side? Don't worry, you can speak very little, no issues. Let me check with Iris. Okay, we'll give her a few minutes. Iris may have you can put down some notes, Iris, if you like, so we can read it out for you. Let me check with ELF 001. Some of the notes from your side, ELF. ELF, my question is, any thoughts or comments that you might have after listening to this?
Not really. I'm still trying to understand the notes.
Okay, very nice. Let me check with YB. YB, any comments or notes from your side?
Actually, I don't, but I am still trying to understand the hikikomori thing.
Oh yes, you mean the very interesting story brought by SHN. Very nice. Yes, let's just go read about it a little bit. But folks, the problem with all of this is that it impacts us. It impacts our full potential. But we can choose to be a rising phoenix, or we can choose to have just stop there and become a victim of anxiety disorder. So we can try to build it up. And Iris has a note indicating, I'm going to read this out to you. I would like to share my feelings about FD meeting, which causes me fear and pressure because I'm afraid that I won't meet the content of the meeting. I'm afraid that I won't be able to participate in a timely manner, and I'm worried that I will handle various problems that I cannot solve by myself. And when they're presented to me, all these make me scared and feel bad about myself. Now, this is a situation where you are putting pressure on yourself, and I don't know what I should do, and I'm trying to understand. And that's perfect. Don't worry, Iris. So we will be all going through some forms of fear of blockages. Okay, let me check with MIHF. MIHF, any thoughts from your side? MIHF? Oops. MIHF, can you hear me? I'm going on mute.
Sorry, I was disconnected for a bit.
Okay, can you share with us what you have understood, or what you've thought about what this is all about? Any other key comments that you would like to add here?
I would like to. I would like to. I thought a bit about the situation, or the resultant from the fear of failure that Mr. SHN shared about. What was it called? The hikikomori. Hikikomori. Yeah. So I was thinking about it, and I was thinking that maybe it's not something that is very it's not something that's very rare in the world today, and we are quite lucky to be here to realize that. And I was thinking that yeah, so I was just thinking that many people, even the ones near us, will feel it, and it may be things that we don't know about, like they may not show it at first, and all of a sudden they're not there. So so I think it's a very big problem, even in today's society, even in such a technologically advanced world. And I feel that maybe technology has played an even bigger part in causing this than let's say maybe war. Okay, so maybe not true, it's just my thoughts, but the war in Japan, the World War, it has caused a nationwide resultant of fear of failure. But things like social media has sparked a global wide fear of failure. And those were just some of my thoughts, that how technology plays a role in causing people to feel failure, or a fear the thoughts of others. So yeah, that's what I thought about.
Very interesting. I remember once upon a time, SAHN did have a very nice blueprint talking about to be disconnected. Not just SAHN, also T had a very interesting, concept to say just disconnect and totally get away from all this technology and concept that cause distraction. And that's point number 2, where we become distracted because we are heavily in charge of problems. So I will quickly go because my time is getting up. So I'm going to hand this over to the next slide. Thank you so much for your quick thoughts. We will be building on it, and we've got other members who we're going to put in your thoughts, comments. Now we are doing research. And we are trying to get a target of 100 people. We have only 4, and we really need your help to spread this message. Please, if you could actually be so kind enough, the link is already on the cue board. Please take the link and send it out to your parents, to your friends, to everybody around you. We are not collecting any personal data. We're just trying to find out, what is the kind of fear, how is fear. It may not be the perfect questions, but please do take this and help us in this research, because we need to get 100 before we can complete the book. So, and you can write in Chinese, you can write in any language, no problem on that. So if your response are English, it's good. If not, it's fine. So please do help spread this word so we can get it there. I'm going to give it over to Hania. I'm going to give it over to HA279 so she can make any concluding remarks, on the research that we're doing. HA279, are you able to speak very quickly?
Okay, so
Go
for the
on.
research, we have some data from participants. It's not really many, but we conclude that participants mostly from Asia, and they all have the fear, and I would say that their fear appear for almost daily, because when I ask them like, do they have any fear in the last 2 weeks, most of them say yes. No, sorry. Most of them say no, and some of them say yes. But when I ask about the fear that like the frequent fear, they all have frequent fear. It depends on the person. Some have the fear about the work, study, everything, and some of them have really good technique to cope with the fear. But however, some of them didn't do anything, and they don't know how to face with their fear. And some of them know that what is the reason they fear of, and the other don't know the reason. So it's kind depend on the situation, but I could highlight like the technique we use to face the fear is so important, and we should spend more time to talk about it next week. Yes, that's in my conclusion.
Okay, thank you so much.
And
HH279.
primary cause of fear is about insecurity. I think insecurity is so important, and the fear is from like our thoughts, our thinking, our mind. So we should have something to cope with it.
Very good. Okay, thank you so much, HA279, for concluding and placing on board. Let me open up to SH Lin 91 to share how are you using this? How do you build your Johari space program to help improve the, or improve the fear of failure? 2 minutes in Europe.
Yes, thank you. So hi everyone, for those who do not know much about the Johari space yet. So the Johari space is an online program that we built from our research work, our behavioral research and psychological research. We are building a tool to help people to understand better about themselves in terms of their thinking process, in terms of their behavioral pattern, in terms of their characteristic, personality. So it helps an individual to raise the self-acknowledgement, the self-awareness. Whenever we know well who we are and where we are now, we can be from there build up our confidence. And even if we do not have much knowledge on a specific topic, but we know about ourselves, then it will be already good enough for us to use our common sense to develop our strong mind to deal with different situations. So that's the first step that Johari Space help people to deal with their fear. From understanding well about ourselves, the Johari Space will take one more step to help people to discover more about themselves. To discover more about their unconsciousness, their subconscious, to understand about what trigger, what is the root cause of the fear, and what is the root cause of the insecurity. Is this about too much expectation from the family, from the society? Is this about the skill itself? If it's about the skill set itself, then it's just a matter of time for the person to up level themselves. And we do provide activities, role play games and simulation for an individual to practice more on their skill and up level themselves during the period of 6 months. So the Johari Space will last for each cycle of the Johari Space will be 6 months. And during 6 months, each individual will be accompanied by the program with a customized recommendation about the exercise, the activity that they will need to go through to understand themselves, to discover themselves, and to upgrade themselves to the next level, to give the best of them. And to bring out the full potential of each individual, and we keep reevaluate, reassess the progress. We do release the report on a regular basis for an individual to understand how much they progress, what are the changes that they have in their thinking process, and what are the transformation that they have gone through, what are how much discovery they have realized during the period. So it will be more like an personalized personality development and self-development for each individual, to know themselves, to discover more of themselves, and to transform themselves in the course of 6 months. And after 6 months, you will be able to see who you were before the program, during the program, and after 6 months of the program. And you will decide how you want to do, where you want to go, and what kind of goal or objective you want to set for yourself for the next 6 months. So that's what Johari Space is doing. And we hope that you will join us on the Johari Space as a tool for you to build up your confidence, to improve your decision making, and to understand and tackle your fears.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. Okay, let's hear very quickly from the members. We are also from SHN. SHN, any quick thoughts from your side before we go into the notes from the audience? SHN, on yours? I think we lost SHN for a bit, no issues. Okay, no problem. Can you put in some notes on how do you feel, especially bringing in these concepts of, the possible concepts of what you've listened today. And by the way, HE279, myself and the research team, we're building up an ebook, and all of what we said, all of what we are sharing in the research, in the targets, it will be constantly upgraded, and you will have an ebook. Also, we are requesting the tech team to probably prepare a code book, so that the code books with your names on it, with your code names on it, can be constantly upgraded. And also we will be having the animation club to do some diagrams for us, to draw for us, so that's going to be part of a comic book that we talk about. One of the examples you saw already is from one of the comic books that we picked up, a story of Lily, and that's what we're going to focus on. Okay, we are ending the last few minutes. Before we go, can I request that we put your notes, comments, how do you feel on the keyboard? Except for Vibe, you can put your how do you feel on directly on the Zoom chat, and one of us will make the translation for you. But we need to get you a Zoom link. So please make sure.
No, I created an account on Padlet.
Nice, very nice.
Now I can put it on the keyboard.
Very good. You are technologically a marvel. Cool. Okay, so then can you please complete all of that on the keyboard, please? I would request MIHF and YB to complete your notes and provide that to Lin91, maybe at the end of today, or probably at the end of today, because it should be quick, because you don't need to write down a lot of words, just a few keywords that you can write down. Okay, I'm going to give you another few minutes before we close down. I'm going to just check if you've all provided some of your keynotes and comments on the talk show. We have 8001 with us. She's taken up another responsibility, but it means that she'll periodically join us, and she's supporting us in spirit, and she will make sure that she'll be whenever she gets a possibility option, she'll be coming in. But until then, well, we will still have her with us as she started the sessions. We will keep her with us, and hopefully we'll get. SHN, is that you? Okay, sorry, I think. Okay, I'm going to give a few minutes just to make sure that everybody has got on board. So let's just wait and see. Okay, so here we are on the fear of failure, which we've completed. And please do. Okay, hold on. I need to.
Can you send the link onto the chat?
Yeah, we can set the link. Lynn, can you set the link on the chat, please, for the keyboard? Is it for the keyboard?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Jen M, could you please mute yourself? Jen M, could you please mute yourself? Lynn, could you please help to mute Jen M, please? Thank you so much. Okay. Just for a minute, sorry, Emma, we are sending out the last notes, links for everybody. So please make sure that you've completed that. Do you have the link with you, MI Chef?
Yes.
Okay,
On the
good.
chat.
All right, good. Can we have your quick feedback, please? Another 2 minutes, everybody. How do you feel? Well, don't say that you are more aware now. I think it is not about just being aware or realize. It's about, do you know what you could do differently? It's also about, how do you think you can help others around you? It's very important to allow the people not to be afraid. Fear does its own positive aspects, but only to the point of survival. Once that point of survival is over, fear is a burden, and it only stops you from going forward. And fear also helps you from, like, respect combined with empathy helps you from, not becoming anyone you are, anyone bad or evil. So you will be able to still maintain your confidence, still maintain the goodness, and still be strong inside. But for this, you definitely need to understand, where you are. Yeah, could we have some comments, please? MI Chef, did you make some comments?
I'm making.
Feedback. All right, YB, your comments are on. I'm just checking because I don't see anything on Lynn's screen yet. Okay, I have MI Chef, very nice. So I think I'm throwing out a mission to you guys. If you can first take that pyramid and talk to anyone around you about, what this is, it will help you. It'll help you and it'll help the others as well. This is what we call a CBT that we do on our research experiments, which we also call a cognitive behavior therapy. So we try and do this every time we hit a roadblock. People are unable to talk, communicate, or even build themselves up. And this is something that we very strongly build in. One of the other interesting things we do is I would like you to go not only to talk to other people, but look around you and see, do you think people need help? Do you think you can help people? Our objective and our primary purpose here at Fundamental Decisions, as you've heard now, is to help you be strong. We cannot avoid situations, it's going to come, but we can definitely build the strength. And together, there's a higher possibility that we can build the strength even faster. So let's work together. We look forward to that at Team FT. Now I'm going back and giving it back to HA279 for your last notes, and after which we will be saying a bye-bye to all of you. And see you next week, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Singapore time. HA279, any last notes from your side before we close the session? I give her 30 seconds. Okay, I think that is all from our side. If not, I wish you the very best and see you all next week. Thank you so much. And we will have the book ready. Bye-bye. Thank you, YB. Thank you, MI Chef.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.